Hello, today we will be looking at plant selection. The objective here is to describe the origin and the forms of the plants used in the landscape. We will be explaining the nomenclature of the plant structure and distinguish the factors that are relevant to proper plant selections. Plant selection for landscape design must be taken into consideration. The plant palette from which the modern landscape designer can select includes literally thousands of choices. Plants must be matched against criteria established by the designer if they are to fulfill their specified roles in the landscape. Some considerations are plant needs, soil, climate, zones. Make sure you get your soil tested and know the climate of the area you're working in, and the zones helps you to know the pH and the balance of the soil as well. Selection of the plants attract attention from clients. So sit with your client and work with them as to what plant they would like to have and give them a palette of different kinds of plant species that they will enjoy within the area, having studied your garden design ahead of time. There are times where you will be designing for far reaches of the world, say for example Spain, Italy, Africa, Florida, Hawaii, not necessarily within your region of Maryland. What you want to do is to study the native plants of that area. And within the native plants, you might also want to look at what are the exotic plants from another area to bring it in, and what will be the naturalized plants that you are dealing with within your area. So you can have a native plant that will also be an exotic looking plant and it naturalizes within the area. But if you have a native plant that is not exotic, you will want to bring an exotic plant into your landscape for a little bit of a showstopper. And then you also want to bring that exotic landscape in a way where you use plants that are naturalized within your landscape. So feel free to be very expressive within your design. Distinguish in many ways your coniferous, which is the cone-bearing or flowering evergreen, tree or shrubs or ground covers, where you want to put them in your landscape, herbaceous or woody plant, annuals or perennials. Some folks really love the annuals, but others want only perennials. Perennials are what will come back every year, but a little bit of mixture between the annuals for a little color and the perennials helps to make the landscape design looks very beautiful. And think about the flowers that you want to give of a showstopper. When you go into the nursery, be aware of how you will see your plants. There are woody plants, there will be bare-rooted plants, ball or burlap known as B&B, and you will have some plants that are containerized, are in containers. They're sold in 5 quarts and 2 quarts, or whatever the size gallons will be. So be aware of those different landscaping plants and how they are sold. As I said, the herbaceous plants are plants that you will have come back every year, which we also know as perennials, that basically have that herb um, smell and feel and beauty about it. So they come in seeds. You can get them from a reputable plant supply. Make sure that they are stamped and certified. Then you have bedding plants. You can get them from the nursery. You can get them from your local garden center. And they come in trays and plugs, and as well as little 6-packs and flats. You have what is known as the bulbous perennials. That's like the begonias and the petunias. They are already bulbs you just plant into the ground and they will come back every year, give you a beautiful flowering head of colors, you don't have to bring them back into the house or into the greenhouse. They stay outside the whole time. And then you have your container plants, assortment of colors. So when you're working with your herbaceous plant, look out for those different ways of how you want to grow your plants, either quickly by using the bulbs or purchasing your containers already designed to give you that instant landscape, or take your time to grow your seeds and then plant them into the ground, whichever is suitable for you. Okay, let's look at plant nomenclature. Nomenclature is a form of naming the plants. So what you have is the common name and the botanical name, or sometimes known as the scientific name. It is expressed in Latin and is normally assigned by a taxonomist. So, for example, you have the famous Black Eyed Susan. Everyone knows it as Black Eyed Susan. That's the common name. You might go to another state and it might be called something else, and another country might be called something else. But the scientific name is known as Rudbeckiae. Rudbeckiae will be known to any taxonomist wherever they are in the world. Plant nomenclature continues as it gets more into the species. It zooms down into the identical plant that will have two-part names. So you have the Latin binomial. The first part of that name will be called the genus, and the second part of the name will be called the epithet. Varieties of plants within a single species are distinctively different from others of the same species. You have the breed true or pure breed, and also its variance to natural origin, selected and sustained by people who value some distinctive attributes. You have also the hybrid, the crossbreeding, two different species going on there. Names of the species, so you have the genus that drops the epithet of the two parent and is given a single new epithet. A little note of caution: when selecting your plants, choose plants properly. Do not always go on sentimentality and easily available plants that you can find at the nursery or garden center, or cheap plants that are sold at low prices, or what is trendy in the area. Study your area carefully. Look at your landscape, what you want to do, and select your plants properly. Unlikely, the plants will serve the landscape properly if they have been well chosen, and they will last and be happy in that area for years to come. So, selection of your plants is very important based on the role factor, the hardiness factor, the climate consideration zones, the physical factor, and the cultural factor. Make sure you get all of those before selecting your plants. Be careful to make sure you have plants that are healthy and true to the type and that will survive and flourish within the landscape. Plants that will be happy to grow according to the national grading standards. Look for nurseries that are certified, and you can be certain that your plants will not die within the first season. If you're not sure, there are a lot of wonderful computer-aided programs out there. You can put on your smartphone, put in all the data information that's needed, and it will come up and help you select and choose the best plant for your area in your landscape design. There are many plants options available for landscaping. It takes a knowledgeable landscape architect or designer to make the right selection for the landscape design. The landscape architect or designer must take in consideration all the things we've talked about: the hardiness factor, as well as the culture and physical factor of the plant and landscaping space. Hope you've enjoyed this lecture. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye and have a beautiful day.